lot of people I talk to, OG, J-Dub, Chilltown Hoops, Anthony K, Sports Fluent. I'm jumping right in because a lot of people I talk to, their favorite day of the year is Christmas. I talk to some, it's Valentine's Day. Others, it's Easter. The first day of summer, the first day of spring. You know what my favorite day is?
Today?
The first day of football. I love the first day of football because you pointed this out to me yesterday. Because as of today, this is the last Sunday. There's football now until the new year. I will not have to go without football again until 2022.
The next year.
Which makes me so happy. It's my favorite day. Like, I get it. Like, I'm not a kid. I don't get to open up presents like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm happy to watch my kids open theirs.
Of course.
This is I get to open
mm-hmm.
between today and this weekend. I get to open 32 presents. One for every team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited about it. So, with that being said, what are you most excited about for this season in the NFL?
To be honest with you, Tone, I'm looking for bounce back teams. I'm looking for teams who were slated to be better than what they were. I'm looking for comeback stories. I'm looking for guys like Cam Newton to make a comeback. I'm looking for Sam Darnold to turn around what was going on with the Jets. That was the best thing that could have happened to him getting out of that organization because they were screwing him up. And I personally think that if he stayed there, he would have been out of the league in 2 years. They were going to wreck him. No question about it. So I'm looking for teams with bounce back. I'm looking for Melvin Gordon to be a lot better this season than what he was in the past because of injury. I think he's going to be a lot better. I'm looking for bounce back teams, and I'm looking for comeback stories this season more than anything.
I am excited to see the wily vets. And can they continue to dominate this league? And I'm talking about the Aaron Rodgers, the Tom Brady's. Like, can they still be the elite of the elite?
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I want the exact opposite. I'm so excited for not only the rookie quarterbacks, but the second and third year guys. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited to see Zach Wilson in real game action. Trevor Lawrence, I feel like we've been talking about him. It feels like for years about Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. Mac Jones with the Patriots. Justin Herbert with the Chargers. Can he continue what he started last year? Mm-hmm. The one thing I love is when I see the future of the sport in mm-hmm. good hands, right? When I look, I'm going to switch to the NBA for a second. When mm-hmm. I look at the NBA and I see Ja Morant, Trae Young, Devin Booker, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's arrived, but all these guys like Jason Tatum in their 20s, I know that I'm going to have a good product for 10 more years to watch. Mm-hmm. I see that with football because we didn't know. If we go back 4 years maybe, we were looking at going, Drew Brees is getting older. Brady's getting older. Mm-hmm. You know, Phillip Rivers is getting older. Ben Roethlisberger. All these guys are getting older. Mm-hmm. Who's going to take that torch and run?
Right.
Man, I feel so good. And I'm not just talking quarterbacks. I'm talking about every position, but right. I'm using quarterbacks as the example.
Right.
I'm so excited to see how these guys now do in real time in professional games.
Well, of course, man. You see guys like Trevor Lawrence in college, and now, okay, this guy, he looks like he's going to be a great quarterback for 10 years. Whoever gets him, they have their quarterback for the future. And that's not just on the offensive side of the football. When I see guys like Chase Young, I'm thinking to myself, I'm building my defense around this guy for the next 10 years. So the young guys get me excited as well because you look at these guys and know that the league is in really good hands, and these guys are going to be around for a long time. And like you just said, switch to basketball for a little bit, just for a second. You knew, Tone, that Magic Johnson was going to be on the Lakers for a lot of years. You knew Bird was going to be around for a long time. You knew Jordan was going to be around for a long time. When you see Trevor Lawrence, when you see Chase Young, these guys look like they're going to be around for a long time. Now, here's the difference, Tone. The difference is having these guys in the right hands, because a wise woman once told me, anybody can train a secretary. You can screw them up too, though. So these guys, absolutely. So these guys absolutely need to be in the right hands. That's why I'm so excited about Sam Darnold being in Carolina, because I felt so bad about what was going on there. Because when I saw him there, I thought that they had their quarterback for the future. and they looked like they were just screwing him up. And the fact that he got out of there and now he's in Carolina, I think he has a really good opportunity to get back to a level of being good, really good.
I've said this once, I'll say it a million times. Especially every position, right? We've talked even about, defensive players who get drafted into a 3-4, but they're more suited to a 4-3. And once they make the change, all of a sudden they're Pro Bowlers. And I was like, what happened? Well, they had to be in the right scheme.
Right.
With quarterbacks, I say it all the time because the QB coach, the offensive coordinator, the head coach plays such a huge role in the development of a quarterback. And listen, I think this actually works out for both. Mm-hmm. I think the Jets bringing in a new regime of coaches, a new quarterback, they get to start fresh. And I think they're going to be better than – look, they're not going to the playoffs, but they're going to be a lot better than you think, or a lot better than they have been in the past.
I think
Sam Darnold gets a fresh start, right? With none of that that New York expectation maybe, right? He can kind of – no one's expecting much out of Carolina this year. He can just develop, and I hope he does because you're right. I think – it was just a bad situation from the coach on down. I'm not going to say anything negative about their coach, but he never should have had the job, and he should have gotten fired a long time ago. That's all I'm. That's all I'm going to say. So I was just going to say, and so let's start. I want to go through each division and just kind of who's that one team, right? Who's the team you think that's the team that's going to win that division? We're going to start in the AFC, and we're going to start up north. So AFC North. Who you got?
In the AFC North, like I just said before, Tone, I'm looking forward to bounce back teams and bounce back situations. I think Pittsburgh is a fraud. Offensively, I think they're a fraud. I think TJ Watt is the best pass rusher in the game. And I think that defense is going to be stout. I do think Pittsburgh is winning. I do think Pittsburgh is going to make the playoffs. It's going to be really difficult, but I do think that they're going to make the playoffs. But I think the class of that division, and a lot of people not really buying it, but I think the class of that division is going to be Cleveland. And I love what Baltimore is doing, but I think Cleveland wins that division this season. I think that Baker is better this season. I think that him and Landry, with that connection that they have, Nick Chubb's only played 12 games last year. He's got to be more involved, and he still ran for over 1,000 yards on 16 carries a game. So if we could get him more involved in the offense and keep him upright, absolutely. I think that Cleveland is the class of that division.
I am very high on Cleveland, as you know, with the exception of Baker. I'm not saying Baker's not good. I'm saying I don't trust Baker.
What's your problem with Baker, Tone? Every time I talk to you about Baker,
I say the same thing.
What's your problem with him?
I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I feel like he's not going to be. He's going to be the reason they lose a game that matters. That's what I feel about it. I hope I'm wrong because. And here's the funny part. You know this, and most people who watch this will be very surprised, right? I speak every week, if not more frequently, with Coach Hugh Jackson. And he tells me I'm crazy. He tells me, he goes, listen, don't look at what happened before. He says Baker's the real deal, and that team, their defense, their running game, they're wide. They're the real deal. That's his pick. He loves the Browns. Everyone's like, well, he had a bad situation. Hey, don't let what happened to him in Cleveland dictate, his impression of the team. He's telling me that's the team.
Right.
Their defense, adding Clowney to Garrett is going to be scary.
What?
Like their defense, Kareem Hunt and Chubb, probably maybe the best 1-2 punch in the backfield, if not the best at the top of the list. Mm-hmm. And yet I can't get over Baker. I don't know. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I don't know what it is. I wish you know me. I like to say it's this stat, it's that stat. I have none of that. This is pure gut. And so for that reason, go ahead.
It just Tone. It looks like this girl that you're looking at, and she's got the look and everything, but she just got this pimple on her forehead that you just can't get past.
She's got one crooked tooth. I don't know what it is.
Can't get past it.
I can't. You're absolutely. You know what? It's like there's an episode of Seinfeld, and I don't know if you watched Seinfeld, but
I did.
There's an episode where Jerry starts dating this girl. I forget her name. And she's nice, she's pretty. He likes her. And then he finds out, she dated Newman. Something's wrong with her. She dated Newman.
I can't get involved with her.
Yeah, that's my Baker Mayfield. He's real nice. I like to watch him play, but it's like he dated Newman, and I can't get over it.
I'm out.
So I'm not saying. Look, I think they're still 10, 11 wins. Like I think they're solid. I have a feeling that we're going to see the best version of Lamar Jackson this year. And I think like we've seen quarterbacks that run, that get hit. We've seen the Cams and the RG3s and all these other guys. And people, behind the scenes have been whispering, is Lamar Jackson that? Did they figure him out last year? And again, with just gut, I feel like Lamar Jackson is going to be like, that's him. That's the guy we saw 2 years ago. He's back. So I think he's going to play just on another level than we've seen him play. And I think that's what leads Baltimore, because their defense is still really good too. So I think, and now I know they lost Dobbins, I think.
Yes,
and so did. There's some question marks in the running game. Mm-hmm. I feel like Baltimore just squeaks it out by like a tiebreaker, right? Mm-hmm. They might have the same wins as Cleveland, but I think they just win the division. So
and he's improved too, Tone. And Jackson has improved in his accuracy. He's improved. Yeah. His reads have improved. So I think he's going to be better this season. Absolutely. Same thing with Baker. Baker has improved his ability to read defenses. He reminds me early on of how Tony Romo used to be when he first started, where it was one read and then that was it. He's staring down the cornerback. He's staring down the wide receiver. Now he's actually going through his progressions. And the reason why he's doing that is because he's doing his homework. You can tell guys that are doing their homework and guys who are not. And Baker looks like a guy who he's been doing his homework and he has improved. So I think he'll be better. Yeah. And again, give him a shot, Tone. Stop looking at that crooked too.
But let's be clear. I'm not saying he's bad, because I know I'm going to get a lot of, why do you hate? I don't hate Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. If I have to pick, because I think they're so close, Baltimore and Cleveland, if I have to pick, I'm giving the nod to Lamar and Baltimore, just because I think he'll do more. Mm-hmm. And I think from 2 years ago, there was a lot of focus on him, and you saw, I don't want to say they figured him out, but there was so much focus on him last year that, look, his numbers were still good. It's just not as good as 2 years ago. Yeah. So I think this year's, you're talking about bounce backs. When a guy plays that well, it's tough to say it's a bounce back, but I think you're going to see a really improved Lamar Jackson this year. So that's why I got that.
All right.
AFC, let's go to the AFC East. We know that we agree it's not the Jets. Although I think they're going to be better.
Jets are out. The Patriots are a question mark because they got a rookie quarterback who I'm not going to give that much of an excuse to. And the reason why is because that system is very similar to the system that he ran in college, and he did very well in it, where that pass offense, and I caught a lot of heat for this. I thought that Trash was better than him, but that's neither here nor I did. I thought Trash was better than him, and I thought that Mac Jones was just in a better situation. I thought Trash was a better quarterback, but that's neither here nor there. When I look at Miami, the question that they have with the Miami Dolphins is their quarterback. I think Tua is going to be a lot better this season than what he was last season. They got a stout defense down there, and Howard is the best cover in the game, in my opinion. Yeah. I think him. I don't think it's that far off from Ramsey and Patterson, but I do think that he's better than those guys. So they got a stout defense, but the class of that division is the Buffalo Bills, and that's because of the emergence of Josh Allen. Getting Diggs helped him out tremendously, and Josh Allen becoming what he is helped Diggs out, because Diggs was awesome with Kirk Cousins, but Josh Allen emerging made Diggs even better. So one hand definitely washes the other with those two. So I think Buffalo's the class of the AFC East this season.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. I'm really interested to see what happens with the Patriots, because obviously, making that move to release Cam Newton, make Mac Jones the starter. I believe no team has ever won the Super Bowl with a rookie QB. So who knows? Maybe they're on that new thing to do. But yeah, I think it's hard to bet against Buffalo. They've got a solid defense, a good offense, a really good offense, a really good core. I think even Josh Allen. I think people still underestimate how good Josh Allen is, if you can believe that. So I think that's actually an easy one. And I'll go to probably another easy one, the AFC West.
Well, I don't think that the question – I don't think it's a question. However, Tone, I think the Raiders are going to be a lot better than what they were last year. I think the Raiders are going to be in contention in that division. as much as I talk about San Diego, I keep saying San Diego. They're not in San Diego anymore. They're in Los Angeles now. I'm sorry.
Listen, they should be in San Diego. Call them San Diego.
Why are they not in San Diego anymore? What are they doing in Los Angeles? What is this?
Listen, I think San Diego. I think the Chargers need to move back to San Diego and take the Clippers with them. But that's maybe a discussion for another day.
Get the Clippers out of Los Angeles.
Get them out of LA.
I'm not going to fight that. So when I look at that division, I think Kansas City is the class of that division, no question about it. I think that the Raiders and San Diego are going to be better than what they were last year, no doubt about that. But my sleeper tone, watch out for Denver. And the reason why I want you to watch out for Denver is because that defense is serious. Drew Lock should be a lot better than what he is. And I can't put my finger on what exactly the problem is with him. He's got all the tools, but it's something's wrong here. Because I watch him in terms of an athlete. He's a great athlete. His delivery is incredible. He goes through his progression. So why isn't he talked about with the elite quarterbacks? Because he's got the talent. Is it something mental? I can't put my finger on exactly what it is with him. But having Teddy Bridgewater is exactly that, a bridge. I think it's going to help Drew Lock. And I think Denver's going to be a lot better. But I think
so. Let me jump in. So do you feel that the Bridgewater starting is going to be temporary and Drew Lock's going to eventually take that job back?
I think Teddy Bridgewater is exactly that. I think he's a stopgap. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is their guy long term. I think it's Drew Lock. But the problem that we having is he hasn't figured it out yet. And I don't know how much longer they have with him. So when I look at that division, I'm going to go, I think Denver's going to be a lot better, but I don't think that they're going to be better than San Diego. I don't think they're going to be better than Los Angeles. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be better than Los Angeles. I already told you about Herbert. If I didn't bleed 49 red, I'd be walking around with a Justin Herbert jersey on. I love that guy. And I think the Raiders are going to be a lot better than what they were. So I think the Raiders finished second in that division, but Kansas City is the class of that division. Yeah.
That's why I said another easy one. I think if you can believe this, I think Kansas City's going to be better this year than last year.
Really?
And people forget they were 14-2 last year.
And they lost 2 games.
I think look, their record might not indicate that they're better. I think they're a better team than last year. And I think
even after losing that offensive lineman?
Yeah. I think they're going to do enough. I feel like that defense has gotten a little bit better every single year.
Yeah.
And that's going to, I think, make up for it. Yeah. I'm worried about, let's be honest, I'm worried about their running game. I'm worried about the offensive line, but I think they learned something, from last year's Super Bowl. And whether it's personnel or scheme, I think you're going to see a better protection because they realize we can't have Patrick Mahomes, even as great as he is. No quarterback is good if they're running for their life. So they're going to do I think they know that now, and I don't think, and I'm not picking on Seattle when I say this, I don't think they're of the Seattle mindset of, Russell can figure it out. No, I think they're going to do, whether it's scheme, bring in more people. I don't know what they're going to build the brick wall. They're going to make sure that, he's their future. They're going to make sure he's protected. They don't want him, obviously getting hurt or again, having to scramble as much as he did. So I think Kansas City for sure. Interesting with the Raiders. Every time I feel like I start to believe in the Raiders, they let me down. And then when I say, oh, they're done, they pop right back up again. So I really like Josh Jacobs. I know that he's getting a lot of, up and down, comments about him. I really like him. I think they've got the second best tight end in the league in Waller. Derek Carr, I think, is good. I don't think he's great.
You think Waller better than Kittle?
I think that if Kittle comes back fully healthy, it might knock Waller to 3. Okay. I don't know what Kittle I'm going to get. Anytime someone gets hurt, I just, again, I hate to keep going back to basketball. How I feel like about Clay. Is it the same Clay that comes back? Right. Okay, then fine, I'll rank him high. I don't know what he is, so I have Kittle as I don't know.
Okay.
Right? If in terms of talent, if I go back prior to injury, yeah, it's Kelsey, Kittle, and then Waller.
Right.
So top 3, let's put them there because again, you know better. Well, we'll get to San Francisco in a second, but I'm curious if you've seen Kittle and how he looks, and if you think he's fully healed. So I think I like the Raiders. I have the Chargers finishing second. I have the Chargers finishing ahead of the Raiders, but I think it's really close. And Denver is that wild card. Denver's that team where, a while ago I would have thought, oh, you're playing Denver, that's 2 wins. I don't know. He might be splitting with them now. So
not this season. Not this season.
If their defense stays healthy too, that can, that's the thing about football. You're not playing a series. You're playing one game. So there's always a chance. All right, let's go get warm. Although most of these teams aren't technically, but AFC South. I had a big argument about the AFC South yesterday because we were all disagreeing. Who you got coming out of it?
Now, before we go any further in this AFC South argument, what's the story with Deshaun? Is he in or is he out, Tone? And what are we assuming? Are we assuming he's in or are we assuming he's out?
I don't believe. And listen, I can't say the source, but I have someone who works for the Texans organization, and they are not committing to this, but they tell me the likelihood that he plays this season is very low.
Okay, so
I'm going to assume that he's out.
So he's out. Okay, so if he's out, the Texans are at the bottom of that division. So the Texans are at the bottom of that division. That division is very difficult. I'm looking at Houston's defense, and I don't think that their defense isn't enough to help. Their defense isn't enough to make up for what their offense doesn't have, and especially taking out Deshaun Watson. Forget about it. So I think that they're at the bottom of that division. There's still a lot of uncertainty with Indianapolis. What's Carson Wentz going to be? Is he going to be healthy? Is he not going to be healthy? Is T.Y. Hilton going to be ready to go? Are they going to be? What kind of offense are they going to have? I'm not really sure about Indianapolis, but I put them over the top of. I put them over the top of Houston. Now, it gets a little tricky with I'm sorry. I got to flip that. At the bottom of that division is Jacksonville because they got a rookie.
I was going to say, you don't have Jacksonville below Houston?
I completely, at the bottom of that division is Jacksonville.
It's like there's four teams. There's four teams.
Yeah, I got complete. Yeah. That's when it came back to me. I got completely thrown off the track. They got a rookie quarterback. Jacksonville is at the bottom of that division. They're building it. Then Houston, right? Then Indianapolis, and then Tennessee. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, and so I think you hit every piece. I think, you know what? I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to be crazy and say I think Houston's at the bottom of the pile, and then Jacksonville, because I think both of those teams are winning 3 to 5 games.
I think Jacksonville wins 5 games this year. If Houston doesn't have Deshaun. I don't give them 5. They might win 3 games.
There you go. If you got Jacksonville with 5 and Houston with 3, Houston's at the bottom. So that's what I'm saying. I think both teams are going to in the 3 to 5 range. Yeah. So it wouldn't be inconceivable that Jacksonville wins 4 or 5 and Houston wins 3 or 4. Yeah. So I think you can. They're interchangeable. But I'm going to go with Deshaun now being, at least in my opinion, out for the season. Look, if he comes back, that's a different scenario. Mm-hmm. If they make this trade that continuously gets rumored of Tua for Watson, we're having a different discussion. As it stands right now, and no disrespect to Tyrod Taylor, I think Houston's at the bottom, then Jacksonville. And, it's funny, when they signed Carson Wentz, it's really funny what happens over the summer. When they got Carson Wentz and he was reunited with Frank Wright, my immediately thought was this incredible redemption story. And here, you know what I mean. It's that Carson Wentz is having an MVP season. He's with Frank Wright. The Eagle, he gets hurt. Nick Foles takes over. Mm-hmm. They go on this historic run. They win the Super Bowl. They beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. He gets a statue. Doug Peterson and Nick Foles get a statue out front of Philadelphia. Carson Wentz, although returns, can never play for Philadelphia again. I don't even know why they tried. You have your backup quarterback has a statue out in front of the stadium. I want nothing to do. If it's me, maybe I'm petty. I want nothing to do with Philly. I'm out. So he gets reunited with Frank Wright. Indianapolis, they've got some weapons, right? Pittman Jr., T.Y. Hilton, Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack in the backfield. Quentin Nelson, one of the best offensive lines in football. I'm all like on this Indianapolis Colts train. And before he gets out of the station, he's hurt again. And sorry to use all the railroad references, but then the whole thing gets derailed.
Everything.
And now I'm like, I don't trust Carson Wentz. I never really trusted him before, and I wanted to trust him, and now I don't again.
Yeah.
So I think they're good. I think they're an average, maybe a game or two above 500, maybe 8 or 9 win. I guess with this season the way it is, I guess 9 has to be the positive, right? 9 and 8. I think that might even be high. I think that might be high. So I think Tennessee is your surefire AFC South winner because they have, even if Tannehill, people are wanting Tannehill to come back down to earth, but I think this is Tannehill. I think what we saw in Miami was the exception, and this is the rule. Mm-hmm. Whereas people have been saying Miami is who he is, and he's played over his head, and Tennessee's been the exception. I disagree. I think it was a bad situation in Miami, and this is who he is, which is great. Which and I'll tell you, I was critical when they signed him to the extension in Tennessee. I was like, "Ooh, Tannehill, that kind of money." No, they did the right thing. I was wrong.
They did the right thing with him.
Yeah, they did it. And then there's a guy in the backfield. I forget his name.
We'll just say Bentley. That's what we'll say. We'll say he got a Rolls Royce in the garage.
He's got the best. Like, I love Derrick Henry, and so now he's got weapons. He's got a running back. He's got a defense, right? So I think Tennessee just, I'd not to say by default, but let's be honest. Tennessee's going to start the season off with 5 wins. We used to say it about the Patriots back in the day, right? Where, hey, the Patriots, when the Bills were bad, Miami was bad. The Jets have always kind of been rebuilding.
6-0 to start the season.
We're like, the Patriots are starting the season 6-0. It's a
They're
great
not losing
thing.
Nobody in that division. They're not.
I think they're sweeping the Jags. They're sweeping the Texans, and at best they're splitting with Indy. So they're starting the season with 5 wins. How do they now win that division? So I think they've got the division.
That's fair.
So we're a flip to the NFC. We're gonna do the same thing. Let's start in the South. Because this is my favorite division. It's not the toughest division. I think your division, the West, is the toughest. But let's start because I'm really high on the team here. The NFC South.
The NFC South, which by the way is my second favorite division.
Okay. Mine too.
I'm a huge NFC South fan. So when you look at the teams in the NFC South, all right. So at the bottom of that division, and the reason why I have them at the bottom of that division is because he's new there, and that's Sam Darnold, and I got Carolina now, but they get McCaffrey back. I'm sorry,
Christian McCaffrey.
They get McCaffrey back, and that offense is just going to start rolling. So from week 1, I'm going with them at the bottom of the division, but I think that's going to change. Absolutely, I do.
Yep. I
dig Matty Ice, and he could still sling it. But that Atlanta team, who they remind me of, they kind of remind me of, and if I can make a basketball reference, they remind me of the Atlanta Hawks in the mid 2000s, where they just needed to rebuild. Like we saw everything that we were going to see out of this team, and now that's it. So with this unit, I think Calvin Ridley benefited from Julio Jones being out, and that helped him tremendously. So Matt Ryan is still going to be Matt Ryan, but that defense is super whack, and that offense isn't dynamic enough. So I think that they're going to be right there with Carolina at the bottom of that division. Now we got the 2 teams. We got the defending Super Bowl champs, and we got the Saints. I'm telling you, Tone, the Saints are going to surprise some people. They're going to surprise some people. I think Jameis is going to have a big year this year. Get Mike Thomas back in the fold. Alvin Kamara, I think that they're going to have a big year this year. And I think that when they make the playoffs, I think that they're going to make a run in the playoffs with Jameson doing what he's doing, with Taysom Hill. I think that they're going to be really, really good. But we all know that the class of that division right now is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They brought everybody back. All 22 starters are back on both the offense and the defense. They ran it back. So
I'm going to do the easy part because I think Tampa Bay clearly wins the division, and just exactly what you said. Everybody's back. They're surprisingly motivated. Normally people say it's hard to repeat because you can't keep that hunger, but I think Tom Brady's that type of guy. He's won so much, right? And he still comes across as this really hungry. I think he still has that chip on his shoulder for being the 6th round pick. Like, which is incredible. I give him all the credit in the world for doing that. And he's trying to he wants to prove that 1 year last year wasn't a fluke. He
Right.
can win without Belichick. He's got that chip. He's got that ego that you need to be successful. So I think Tampa Bay repeats again.
He still thinks he's the best. He's 44 years old, and he's still convinced I'm the best.
And he has to. The second he believes he's not, he needs to retire.
Yes.
Right? So he's, and I think he is. I think he still is. Can he do all the same things as he used to? No. I'm super high on the New Orleans Saints. One, because I really like Jameis Winston. And a lot of people are giving him, all they talk about is 30 interceptions. Listen, man, he threw for over 4,000 yards. He threw for over 5,000 yards, over 30 touchdowns as well. In an offense, I say this a million times, that just is meant to throw interceptions. You're meant to take a lot of chances. I think people forget. Someone brought this to my attention yesterday. When they played Green Bay in the NFC Championship game, Tom Brady threw for 3 interceptions.
Nobody talks about that.
And they still won the game. Tampa Bay still won the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but when have you seen Tom Brady throw for 3 interceptions and win? Right? It's anybody throw for 3 interceptions and win. It's
Last
rare.
time I can remember that, Tone, I got to rewind the clock back 40 years. In the NFC Championship game against my 49ers and the Cowboys, Joe Montana threw 3 picks. That's the last time I can remember that happening.
It's not common. So I disagree with one thing he said. I don't think Mike Thomas comes back. I think he doesn't want to be there, and I think they move on from him.
They just paid him, Tom.
I know, but I think he doesn't want to be there. He just doesn't want to be there, and he's hurt. Yeah, I think that's that's a weird. That's one where I think they move on. I think it's addition by subtraction.
Wow.
Because I really like Callaway and Traquan Smith.
Yeah.
Kamara in the backfield with Winston slinging it. I love that. And the part that people forget, if I told you there was a team in the Bears-Saints playoff game last year, if I told you there was a team that ranked in the top 5 in every defensive category, would you have thought, just off the top of your head, that it was the Bears or the Saints?
The Bears.
It was the Saints.
Absolutely.
It was 9 out of 10 people would say, "Oh, if top 5 in defense, it's the Bears." No, It was the Saints. So people forget how good that defense has become, and so now you add that to a team that's going to score some points. I have faith in Sean Payton with getting molding, and you brought him up too. Taysom Hill is still there, and he's going to be very involved in the offense as a fullback, as a tight end, as a quarterback, as I don't know, he could be a lineman. He's going to be the ball one play. I don't know. He's just literally.
He's everything for them. Absolutely.
He's going to do everything. And they want him happy. I know that they want him happy. He's so talented. It's so, you can't fit him into any single thing. He's just so good at everything. So
I've said this in the past.
I'm really high on them.
I've said this in the past. Every time I watch Taysom Hill, he reminds me he is who Tebow should have been.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great comparison.
That's who I think he is. I think he is who Tebow should have been.
Yeah. The NFC South, you said, was your second favorite division. It's on my list, and the reason it's on my list is because of the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the story is Deion Sanders was one of my favorite players, and I just loved watching him play. But also, there was a coach. You'll remember Jerry Glanville.
I do remember Jerry.
And the Falcons went to the playoffs. And they were wearing their all blacks. He always wore all black. And they wanted a captain to come out for the coin flip. And he said, "No, I'm not sending a captain." And he's like, "Well, you have to send someone. You have to." What did he do? Playoff game. He sent the whole entire team. And I was just like, as a youngster, I was watching that going, I love this guy. That was just the attitude. And so I just, I like the Saints. I like the Falcons. And so it was just like, it was, I watched a lot of AFC South football. I'm very surprised Matt Ryan is still the quarterback. I'm really surprised they didn't, just move on from, they moved on from Julio. I would have just thought they would have moved on from Matt Ryan. You're right. Their defense is suspect. So it's just like, hey, here's the opportunity. We got a young receiver, Calvin Ridley, who's a stud, right? Let's bring in a young quarterback for them to grow together. Right. Let's rebuild this defense. Let's do something. I really like the Mike Davis pickup, though. I think people are sleeping on Mike Davis in Atlanta as well, because he filled in for Christian McCaffrey so well.
Yes, he did.
In Carolina. Look, he's not Christian McCaffrey, but as a receiving back, in a committee, I don't think he's your workhorse kind of back, but I think it's if kind of
And he's
Fluent.
durable too, Tone. Don't leave
Yeah,
that out. He's
yeah,
absolutely durable, and he's very serviceable too. So I
yeah.
do
And so
like
that's
what
what I
they're
mean.
doing with him.
I think he's one of those fly under the radar kind of guys that
Absolutely.
came in that's going to make some noise.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
like them. I think they're good. I think you're right with Carolina. I think offensively they're going to be. I'm really looking forward to see Darnold's maturation there, but I think it's maybe a year or two away. I think he's going to benefit the most in 2 years when Tom Brady retires, unless he retires in 10 years, then they're in trouble. But I think Sam Darnold's, he's going to be, if you think about it, he's got the head start on the young quarterbacks in that division because Brady's, I'm trying to be realistic. I could be wrong. Brady's 1 or 2 more years. Matt Ryan in Atlanta is maybe 1 or 2 more years. I think they do, I think they should have done it this year, but I think they, at some point in the next year or two, they
I'm
move
not
on.
putting any cap, Tone, on
So-
Tom Brady. And you know why?
No,
Because I said Tom Brady was over in 2016. That was 5 years ago. I said he was over. He's still here winning Super Bowls. So until Brady leaves, I'm not betting against him.
Fair enough. But Tampa Bay's the class of that, and Carolina's at the bottom. But I think all the teams are improved. NFC. Let's do the East because I know you like talking about your Cowboys. So let's start about
that division. That division is. You brought up a really good point, and that was there hasn't been an NFC East back-to-back winner in the last 20 seasons.
Yes,
now,
sir.
I'm looking at that division, and any one of those teams possibly could win a division. I think Philadelphia. I think they're at the bottom of that division.
Yeah.
I like Jalen Hurts, and I like the pickup that they got in the draft. But I think that they and I can appreciate Nelson, but I think that they are ways away from being competitive. So I think Philadelphia wins 5 games, maybe 6 in that division.
Wouldn't it be so Philly though to win that division this year because we all wrote them off?
They turn around and win like 11 games or 12 games, some nonsense like that.
That would be so Philly.
We got them at the bottom of the division. They're going to be super whack. They end up winning 12 games and they get a bye in the first round of the playoffs. That's so Philadelphia.
So Philly.
When I think about, I think Washington takes a step back this season. I do, because I don't think that. And the reason why I think that because their defense, as good as it is, I don't think that they're going to be able to make up. I think Fitzmagic is over. He's going to be 38 this season. And I think that everything that you saw from Fitzmagic, I think that's it. Now, he's going to come in and look like the shiny new car that everybody's loving, but I think Fitzmagic is over. The team that I'm loving in the NFC East, I'm loving the New York Giants. Absolutely. I'm loving the New York Giants, and I think that they're going to be right there with the Cowboys to win that division. And I think this is a bounce back season. Like I just said in the beginning, Tone, I think this is a bounce back season for Dak. I think this is a bounce back season. That's why I'm looking forward to it. For Zeke, and that defense is going to be – they got 8 new guys on that defense with the Cowboys. I can't believe I'm saying this about the Cowboys because I'm not going to give them too much credit, but I think that they're going to be better than they were last year. I'm not saying that they're going to the Super Bowl. No way.
Well, that's their fan base every season. They're going to the Super Bowl
every year.
Look, Dallas is probably the most talented team in the division when you look at their skill players with Dak, Zeke, Amari Cooper. Right, they've got the talent. I think their offensive line has improved from last year as well, which is needed.
Mm-hmm.
It just always seems, again, I didn't see enough of Dak. I don't know what do we see of Dak? We've seen nothing. So I don't know. I hope that I'm wrong with everyone that comes back from injuries, but I'm always hesitant on guys coming back from injuries. That being said, I'm with you on that. The Giants are, in my opinion, they're the biggest boom or bust team I think I've seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. I feel like if Daniel Jones takes that next step, he's got the weapons, right? He's got receivers, tight ends, running backs, Saquon Barkley, if he's healthy. They pick up Galladay. They already have, Sterling Shepard. They have Evan Ingram. They've got an offense that can boom. But if he doesn't take that step, if he doesn't make the right reads, if Galladay's, he has a nagging injury again right now, they could just be like, they could be bust. So who do I I'm going to stick. Don't get me wrong. I'm hesitant with everything I'm saying because it's the NFC East, and you never know. We talked about Philly. We think they're going to win 5 games, and then they win 12. So my only one that I somewhat can put a finger on, and this would break that. I believe it would break that trend, that 20-year kind of thing. Which, hey, every record is meant to be broken. I think it's Washington. I think Washington's defense is so good, and I think. And look, I'm really high on any quarterback that leaves Miami. They always seem to do well once they leave. So I think this is the one year where they go, wow, Fitzpatrick is a serviceable quarterback because he's the epitome of boom or bust, right? He could throw you 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. He could throw for 70 yards and 4 interceptions. Like, you don't know.
In the same game.
In the same
game, he could do that. No question about it.
That's 2 halves with him.
In the same game.
But I like him. I like McLaurin. I like what Washington is doing. So I think in a division where 9 wins gets you the division, I think they're the ones that get there.
Yeah. Tone, you got to get – because I got to get on you, Tone. You got to get behind these quarterbacks, man. You got trust issues. Every time I hear you talking about Baker. I hear you talking about Dak. I hear you got some trust issues, Tone. Get behind these guys, man.
You know why? I've been burnt. Every time I trust in a quarterback, you forget what my team is. I've been burnt by quarterback after quarterback, right? It was, Jim, not the Jim. If you look at how many starting quarterbacks, I'm not going to get into this, but just I'm going to give you some homework. Go look at how many starting quarterbacks the Bears have had since Jim McMahon retired.
I really thought Jay Cutler was the guy.
It's like 40-something.
I really did. I thought Jay Cutler was the guy. I really did. I thought Jay was going to be that guy. We started. I think this is his wrong name, but that guy from Notre Dame, Jimmy Clausen, Klaus. We started him. We signed Mike Glennon to be a starter. Like, I have quarterback issues. Yes, you do.
I do. I got to get some therapy. I got to go to the. I got to call like the quarterback whisperer to give me some help. All right. So I've got Washington. You've got the Giants.
I do. I got the Giants at the top of the NFC East this year.
Who do we have left? We got the NFC. We did the West.
North.
We did the East. Let's do the North. Let's do my Bears division.
The Bears division. Now, we'll start with your Bears. So it's obvious that Fields is the quarterback of the future. Andy Dalton is the quarterback of right now. I love Allen Robinson. And I love everything about Allen Robinson. I think that his route running, his ability to get open, his ability to get off the line of scrimmage, he's one of the top 10 wide receivers, in my opinion, in the game today. I'm loving him. That backfield is a little sketchy. And you just talked about having trust issues. I'm thinking about not the backfield. I'm sorry, Tony. I didn't mean your backfield. I meant your offensive line.
Oh, okay.
Your backfield is great.
I was going to say, I like our backfield. It's our offensive line that makes me nervous.
Yeah, your offensive line is what the problem is. The biggest problem here is Andy Dalton. Is he going to be serviceable enough to keep you guys afloat? And as of right now, and when I look at that division, I have to put you guys at the bottom. Yes, I do. I put you guys at the bottom, and I put Minnesota a hair ahead of you guys. Just a hair. That's it. That's as far as I'm going with Minnesota, because as good as Kirk Cousins was, just so you know, he threw for 4,000 yards. Almost 1,500 of those yards went to Jefferson. Just so you know. Almost 1,500 of those yards went to Jefferson. Now, when I think about that division, I'm thinking about the Bears being at the bottom, Minnesota. We all know that Green Bay is the class of that division. We all know that. That's not news. We all know that Green Bay is the class of that division. But
you got Detroit.
I'm getting to that. Of all of those teams, I think Detroit's going to surprise some people this season. I do, and I know as bad as you think that they are. I got some people thinking that Detroit is going to be like 0-17. I don't think they're going to be that bad.
No, I think they'll win 3 games.
3.
I don't trust a coach that wants to bring in a real lion. I'm sorry. he, whose name tag on his office says the man or whatever the hell it says. I'm sorry, I don't.
So let me.
And honestly, let's be honest. At quarterback, where I have my trust issues, they took a step back.
You think Jared Goff is? You think Staff is better than Jared Goff?
Every day, all day.
All right.
And I saw a lot. Listen, you saw a lot of Goff.
I did see a lot of Goff.
West. I've seen a lot of Matthew Stafford. He's a better quarterback than Jared Goff.
Because just so you know, in the last 5 years, they've only beaten us once. Last 5 times we played the Rams, they only beat us once with Jared Goff. They only beat us one time. So as I was saying, I'm looking at that division. Detroit is at the bottom. Chicago, Minnesota, Green Bay.
Okay.
Even though I think Detroit's going to be a lot better than what people think they are, they're still going to be at the bottom of the division.
So I'll start by saying I think Detroit is going to be a cluster F, and I think that coach is so over the top with the things that he does. I think he's going to drive today's player crazy. I think if it was 30 years ago, he'd be great. I think in today's NFL, I think he's for me. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm hoping I'm right. He's way out there. So I think Detroit's at the bottom. I don't like anything that they've done in Detroit. And I don't – listen, when you take a step back at the most important position, I got to question it. Minnesota, I think, is the question mark because for whatever reason, every odd year they play well. So if I'm being honest, I think them and the Bears are going to be fighting for that last wild card spot and second place in that division. I'm going to read something else to you because you mentioned Allen Robinson, and he doesn't get talked enough. He doesn't get talked about enough, so I want to give him his due because people have him, although they say look, top 10 wide receiver. They put Allen Robinson in that mix. I bump him a little higher, like top 5. But let me tell you, since his sophomore year in college, I'm going to read out some names. Matt McCloin, Christian Hackenberg, Blake Bortles, Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles, and this year Andy Dalton are his quarterbacks. Wow. And he's a top 10 wide receiver with them throwing him the ball.
Don't forget too, Tone, in Jacksonville, he led the league in touchdowns. With Blake Bortles.
With Bortles, I know.
Yeah, he led the league in touchdowns.
If I sent you that list of quarterbacks, you'd be scratching your head going, there's no wide receiver. So for him to be that good with that group of QBs since college, that's why I bump him up higher. It's a testament to what a good receiver he is. Now, that being said, I really like their backfield. I like David Montgomery a lot. I like they have a rookie, Khalil, Khalil. I forget his first name, unfortunately. But I like him. And then Damien Williams. Damien Williams was he was the MVP of that Super Bowl, was he not?
Yes, he was.
I know they gave it to Patrick Mahomes. He was the MVP.
He was the stud.
Now, he needs to learn. I think he's going to take because he took last year off because of COVID stuff.
Right.
So I think he needs 4 or 5 weeks to get into the groove. So I like that. I like their wide receivers with Allen Robinson and Mooney. I really actually like Cole Kmet at their tight end. Dalton is the big one that he's serviceable, but he's not the guy to lead a team to to a Super Bowl. He's never won a playoff game. He's in there to mentor, and I think he does a really good job of this. He's there to mentor Justin Fields and get him game.
Correct. Yep.
I like that. Here's my problem. To make all of that work, the running game, the play action that they're going to need, and their passing game to get Allen Robinson time to get open, they need an offensive line, and they don't. They don't have one. And when Andy Dalton is not mobile, he's gonna get a lot of sacks, and I think that's why they're not starting Justin Fields, because Justin Fields is, if you compare it to the Patriots, he's like Mac Jones. He's better than the incumbent. He's better than the vet. But I think they realize their offensive line will get him. Now not to say they're putting out Andy Dalton as a sacrificial lamb, but
they are putting him out as a sacrificial lamb. Right? But they don't want to screw our guy up for the future.
That's right. That's what they kind of are doing. And so you can't get your running game going. You can't get your play action because you have no running game because of this offensive line. So that's the biggest thing. Can they figure it out? And I don't know. On the other side of the ball, I really love their front seven, right? With Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith. They've got a great team up there. The problem is, what does the league do now more than ever before? It's throw the ball. And where is the Bears' biggest weakness? We don't even know what's happening. They just let One of their DB room is just in chaos. They just let I forget his name, but one of their veterans. I hate that I forgot his name, but Trufant. They just let Desmond Trufant go. They have a question marks with their DBs. Mm-hmm. Well, in a league that throws, that's your biggest question mark.
You can't have that. You
can't have that. Can't have that. Mm-mm. So there's a lot. I love my Bears, and I will. I'm ride or die with my Bears. Mm-hmm. But I have a lot of question marks about two really important things: the defensive backs and the offensive line, which are kind of important. Mm-hmm. So then it goes to Green Bay, and let's be honest, Green Bay is going to win that division. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers is, he's treating this like his last dance, and he's playing with a chip on his shoulder that he's trying to prove something, which I always like players that are playing with a chip. Mm-hmm. He's trying to show them that, hey, you should have given me the respect that, listen, he only won one Super Bowl. It's not like, he wants to be treated like Tom Brady, but he's not Tom Brady.
No.
But he wants to be treated like that, and he's going to try to prove to them, you should have given me the same, tell me, like Tom Brady. We told Tom Brady we were going to draft a quarterback. We asked Tom Brady what players does he want around him, all those things. But he's not Tom Brady. He didn't win 7.
And on top of that, Tone, he's the same guy who said after they lost to the 49ers in the NFC Championship, quote, we got to get these games in our building. Well, you got the NFC Championship in your building last year against Tampa, and you lost.
Oh, but I don't know why they kicked that field goal. Right? He's quick to throw people under the bus. And let me say something about Tom Brady. Obviously, the Super Bowl wins. But what has Tom Brady done that maybe no other superstar quarterback has done for the entirety of his career?
Stayed healthy.
And taken less money so that they can bring better pieces. Right? Mm-hmm. So you can't, no offense to Aaron Rodgers, listen, get paid. I'm not saying don't. Mm-hmm. But don't say, I want all the money, and then say, I don't have a team around me.
Yeah,
I don't have it. You can't have it both ways. Why is Tom Brady in the conversation? Because he said, hey, I'm going to take less money so now I've earned the right to be talked to about personnel because I've given you the opportunity to bring in those guys. So you can't have it both ways. But at that point, I still think they're the class of the division. Mm-hmm. They're still, between him and Devontae Adams are going to have another huge year. And I think both of them are gone at the end. Thankfully for my Bears, I think both of them are gone at the end of the season.
So they're starting over.
And they're going to start over and see what Love, if Love's the guy.
Sure.
So the last division. So we both got the Packers. We both got the Bucks. Mm-hmm. I've got Washington. You've got the Giants. Mm-hmm. Now the NFC West. And I left them for last. One, because I know you're a 49ers guy. But two, I don't know that there's not another. If you were to rank the divisions, they're number one. And they're number one because all 4 teams have a legit shot at double-digit wins. And all 4 teams have a legitimate shot at the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And I would say 3.5 teams have a legitimate shot at the Super Bowl.
Facts.
Right? I put Arizona as the half. Mm-hmm. So
when I look at Arizona, Tone, when I look at Arizona, I was asked the question not too long ago, which quarterback do you think is going to lead the league in touchdowns? And lead the league in yards and lead the league in touchdowns. And I said, what? Don't be surprised at the end of the season if you see Kyler Murray right in the middle of this. Don't be surprised because, number one, he's got arguably the best wide receiver in the game in DeAndre Hopkins. That's number one. Number two, getting A.J. Green is going to be huge for him. I think he rejuvenates himself from what he was doing what he was doing when he was in Cincinnati. He stayed hurt. Now being down and playing in a dome, not only just playing in the dome, that division, that offense, the way they run, I think he's going to be huge for them.
I'm not calling AJ Green old. I'm not. However, in football years, he is. And something I learned living in Arizona, that heat kind of makes a lot of those bone pains go away.
Wasn't Shaq over when he was in Miami? He left. He goes down to Phoenix, and he's 3rd-team All-NBA. All of a sudden, Shaq is 3rd-team All-NBA. We talking about he's washed. So
it works wonders. It works wonder, man. It works wonder.
I don't know. So I think that as of right now, I think Arizona is at the bottom, and behind Arizona, I think it's Seattle. And I'm not going to count Seattle out strictly because they got Russ. And that defense, they always have a stout defense in Seattle. No matter what, they always have a stout defense in Seattle. When I think about what they're doing offensively, they've shored up that offensive line for Russ because Russ was complaining about running for his life, which he should have been. If you want me to stay upright, you're going to have to get some guys to block for me. And they weren't doing that. So now that they've done that, I think Seattle is going to be better, but this division is so difficult and it's so tough. Now, I get a lot of people talking to me about Matthew Stafford. Now, the fact that he's, I think, 5-27 against teams over 500, something nuts like that. And I don't think he has any playoff wins. If he can't get it done with this group here, with that defense, with that offense, and Cooper Kupp, I don't want to hear anything else about Matthew Stafford, because this is the best team he's been on, and this is the best opportunity that he has to win. Because all they did was replace the quarterback. That's all they did. And they went to the Super Bowl, by the way. Now, my 49ers, I think we the class of this division. Jimmy G wins 80% of his games. Now, when you got Jimmy G throwing long tone, we have problems. Jimmy G is more of a dink and dunk guy, 10, 15 yards. He can throw the long ball, but if you got him throwing the long ball regularly, that's a recipe for disaster. Our defense, as long as it's healthy, we got Bosa back. Our secondary is my issue. I mean, we lost Sherm. Okay, I can get with that logic, but our secondary is my issue. If we can be solid in our secondary, I think we back in the bowl game.
It's funny to pick Arizona to be last in the division because I think they're so improved and I think they're good. I just think they're in a bad situation where they're in this division. If they were in any other division, maybe I think 7 out of other, half of the other divisions, I think they're winning it.
Tom, put Arizona in the AFC. Put Arizona in the NFC East. How you think they do?
Yeah, exactly. They run away with that division in the NFC. They should probably maybe become the St. Louis Cardinals again and go NFC East, and they might have a chance. Right. Although technically even they're not in the NFC East. Excuse me. So, but they are at the bottom, unfortunately, because here's a team that's probably going to win 9-10 games, and they're going to be at the bottom of a division, if you can believe that. There's a lot of talk that all 4 of those teams make the playoffs, and it's not crazy to think that.
Has that ever happened before, Tom?
I cannot remember. It's never happened. It's never happened. It couldn't happen. It couldn't happen.
How?
Because there was only two wild card spots, so it couldn't have happened. So this is but how often have we had 3? Right? Even that's really rare. I know it's happened, but it's rare. So I got Arizona at the bottom. This is going to surprise you. I know it's going to surprise you because they're going to win 10, 11 games. But I think it's the Rams that are just above Arizona in that division. And although Matthew Stafford is an improvement from Jared Goff, he's not statistically. He'll be better, but he doesn't win games.
Big games.
And listen, they're going to have 6 big games because everyone in their division is a tough matchup.
Facts.
So they're going to have 6 big games, and so that's what's going to knock them down because they're going to lose every tiebreaker, right? And that's just I hate to say this, I don't trust Matthew Stafford.
Here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. So, but obviously their defense is ridiculous. But there's question. Listen, are you sold on Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel in the backfield?
No.
Right. I like what at Cooper Kupp. But are you? They've got really good receivers. I don't know that there's not that. Who's that guy that, it's 3rd and 7 and I'm just going to put one up and he's going to come down with it and get us the first down. I don't feel that is Cooper Kupp that guy I'm forgetting the other wide receiver on the other side. But I just don't feel like they have that it on offense. Their defense is going to keep them in every single game. Don't get me wrong. They will. So I've got them. And again, keep in mind, that's still 10, 11 wins. It's going to be the tiebreakers. I think they all win between 10 and 12 games, which is crazy. Then I got the Seahawks. I think the it factor is I do trust Russell Wilson. I do love the fact with the 12th man back that they're going to be that home team, except against Arizona, that they're going to have that X factor again. So I think Seattle comes in second. And here's the thing. Now, this is all predicated on health, obviously. The 49ers, I don't think another team even came close to games lost to injuries last year than the 49ers.
Defense was decimated.
So you put that defense back on. You put Jimmy G, like you said, who wins 80% of his games. And if he and let's be honest, you know this, Trey Lance is going to be playing.
Yes,
even if he doesn't start, there's packages already for Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have this, I hate this, it's never typically worked, but they're going to have these packages for Trey Lance that's going to give them some of those big plays that they need. So I really like and then you do have, to my point about the Rams, you do have that guy when it's 3rd and 7 to put it up. You put it up to Kittle and he will take care of you. He will get you, whether it's he's going up and getting it, or whether you're just dinking it to him and he's just going to run over 5 guys, he's going to get you that first down.
Yeah.
So, again, if healthy, San Francisco, I think, takes that division as well.
And Kittle, I think, and like I said, I think Kittle's going to be a lot better this year. He looked really good in training camp. He looks like he's ready to go. The question is he going to be able to stay upright? If he can stay upright, he's obviously our number 1 target.
I was forgetting Robert Woods. Robert Woods is the wide receiver. I had to look that up because I hate when I can't remember someone's name. So I think if Kittle, you say that's what I was going to ask you. If Kittle looks good, at running back.
I love Mozart. I do. I love him. And the packages that Shanahan puts together for him in particular, we run all over the place. And if he could stay healthy, Tone, health is the biggest issue with the 49ers because I believe that they have all the pieces.
Yeah, and that's exactly my point, is that you can't bet on an injury, right? You can't say, hey, I can't pick the 49ers because they're going to get hurt. Because we got to assume, that they're healthy. And if they're healthy, I don't think there's a team that is as kind of set up to win. I want to run down the names because I think it's important. So you got Jimmy Garoppolo. Just think about this. Even if Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, right? Because we talk about injuries. So you got Jimmy Garoppolo. Then you got Trey Lance. I think you're good. You talk about Moser. I really like Trey Sermon. I think Trey Sermon might become your starting running back halfway through the season.
Mozart? Wow.
Again, and if he does get injured, I really like Sermon. I think he takes over that. Then you got your wide receivers. You got Debo, Ayuk, Sanu. People forgot about Mohamed Sanu, but as a third wide receiver, he's right. And then you got Kittle. So I feel like they've got so much talent. They've got so much talent that even if someone gets hurt offensively, they've got the next piece to kind of step in. That the key is, can the defensive backfield hold up? Can the defense stay healthy? If they do,
that's it.
It's the 49ers division to take.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's it for the NFL edition of Fluent and Chill. Wednesdays, NBA. Fridays, right here, NFL. And Monday, 8 p.m. live on TikTok. We'll talk to you next week.
Football season is here. Take it light, but take it.